Hi, I'm John Feal from the FealGood Foundation. But before I was founder and the president of the FealGood Foundation, I was a 9/11 responder. I was a supervisor in a demolition company. On September 17, 2001, I lost half of my left foot when 8,000 pounds of steel crushed my left foot. I spent 11 weeks in the hospital with gangrene. Like thousands of men and women who risked their lives without prejudice, who got sick from their heroic actions, I was denied my basic compensation and benefits that I worked so hard to get. My whole life I've been a fighter, and I decided to fight back for myself. So before I can help everybody, I had to fight for myself. Soon before I started the FealGood Foundation, I was advocating for others on how they too can fight for themselves. In 2005, I started the FealGood Foundation. And since then, I'm proud to say that we've donated over $400,000 and passed a major historic legislation in the Zagroda Health Compensation Act. The FealGood Foundation is here because we want to be, not because we have to be. And I only wish that while I was going through my own struggles and my own fight, that there was a John Feal and his board to help me back then. But now, when a 9/11 responder comes to us for help, there is John Feal and the FealGood Foundation, and I like to think that we do a pretty good job in helping these men and women. So again, it's something that we're proud of. The FealGood Foundation is a multifaceted organization. We do fundraisers. We sell t-shirts and sweatshirts. I've sold a t-shirt and a sweatshirt in over 40 states and 12 countries that I never stepped foot in. We've done this without a grant, but we've donated over $400,000. So while we're still donating and offering financial assistance, we also help them get their benefits, workman's comp, Social Security, their pensions, federal legislation, the Zagroda Health Compensation Act. We also get them into counseling for them and their family members. Somebody needs medical supplies. Somebody needs a wheelchair. We'll help them with that. So there's many different avenues that we do to help. Help comes in different size, shapes, and forms, and I like to think that we're covering every aspect of helping these men and women. And again, we wake up in the morning and we go to bed at night knowing that we did the best we could that day to help men and women from 9/11. As simple as that. That's what we do. That's what we know how to do. And for many of us here at the FealGood Foundation, this is our therapy. I've been diagnosed by 4 doctors with post-traumatic, and I've yet to take a pill for it. Running this foundation is my therapy. Donating a kidney to a complete stranger was my therapy. Losing half a foot just fuels my fire because it reminds me of the men and women who are sick and dying from cancers and respiratory problems and heart issues and even suicide. Post-traumatic is a serious issue. It's a serious, serious illness that many in the 9/11 community share. And I can only hope that people come to terms with their heroic actions at 9/11 and the days and weeks after and can embrace what they've done. To me, I can't change what happened on 9/11. Nor do I think I want to. It happened for a reason. But we can find the good in it, and we can start the solutions and the problem solving again, and we can continue to strive to be better in the 9/11 community at the FealGood Foundation in DC, in New York City, so we can ensure that we're not attacked again, but we can doubly ensure that the men and women who risk their lives again are taken care of the right way and not have to wait 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. The opposition to this bill, I'm baffled. As a common sense thinking man, it's hard for me to wrap my arms around the thought process of those who oppose this bill. Before you're a Republican or a Democrat, you should be an American. This wasn't a Democrat or a Republican issue. This was an American issue. This bill was a no-brainer, a slam dunk. But for years, it took a backseat to poor politics, poor leadership, and basically ignorance. And at what price do we stop caring about human life? When is the dollar more important than human life? Nobody could answer these questions for me. And I saw the roadblock the ignorance, the stalemate, the inability of those in D.C. to get anything done because of ideology differences, and because of this in D.C., the American people suffer. You take 9/11 out of the equation, 350 million Americans deserve better than what they've been presenting to us over the last several years. On 9/11, this country came together. We were united. It felt good to be an American, even after
the 9/11 community made up of respondents, widows, survivors, the people of Lower Manhattan. We are upset at Thursday's turnout and the vote result. It should have been 435 to nothing. But before I go on any further, I want to have Mrs. Gershio come up and sing God Bless America to let Congress know that 8 years ago they sang God Bless America and said they weren't going to forget us. But obviously they forgot about us because a 6-week vacation is more important than voting yes on 9/11 healthcare issues. Now I'll ask for a moment of silence because last night EMT John Biondi lost his battle to 9/11 related illnesses. Mr. Biondi would have benefited from our bill passing. Like the thousands that needed this bill passed, we take a moment to pay respect to another fallen hero. Thank you. I will not yield to any member of Congress. I will not yield to the gentleman because thousands of 9/11 responders and people in Lower Manhattan are sick and dying. I will not yield to the gentleman because our vote should have been 435 to nothing. Republicans and Democrats should have voted like Americans. They say this is a New York issue. This is a national issue. I will not yield to anybody when my friends and colleagues are sick and dying. They say this is an entitlement, this bill. You're damn skippy, it's an entitlement. Because these men and women behind me worked under the false pretense that the air was safe. The government lied, the federal government lied, and they've dragged their feet for 9 years. So you're right, we're entitled to health care and compensation because we're sick and we're dying. And going on a 6-week vacation. Really? Serious? 6 weeks? You couldn't take 6 hours on the floor to put this on? We would have had the votes. 218, that's all we needed. Me and my team, we have been to Congress and D.C. enough times to circumnavigate the earth. We have met with over 330 members of the delegation of Congress. We know this bill better than them. We had the votes. Our work as 9/11 responders, yards from this spot, and our work as advocates on this bill has been undermined. Because of partisan politics, human life has taken a back seat. I yield to nobody. With that, I want to yield my remaining minutes to my good colleague representing the FDNY.
I want to thank Mr. Feal from the FealGood Foundation for yielding his time to me. I usually do not read from a prepared statement, but my statement has facts that I think are important and certainly important numbers that we need to get out to the media. The media needs to get this story out to those people in America who always think that Congress is all about doing the people's work. What happened on Thursday night was nothing short of an execution. The people's work was not done. I think the most important way I can start today's press conference is by a saying from, in my opinion, one of the greatest presidents in the United States of America's history. Ronald Reagan once said that the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I am from the government and I am here to help. 25 years later since he stated that fact, we have seen that those from the government, when they say they are here to help, only harm. 432 members of Congress were required to vote the other night. As John said, all 432 should have given a vote of yes. In our opinion, if you can't wrap your arms around September 11th as an issue to put aside partisan politics, then I can tell you right now, nothing in this country will get done. Ever. There's always going to be issues on the right side of the aisle and the left side of the aisle. There's always going to be issues that those in Washington, D.C. cannot agree on. Those are the bills that fail. When there's not enough people to agree, the bill meets a fate. The fate is the end. September 11th is an issue that, let's be honest here, folks, are we really that different? Are our ideals and our beliefs that different that we had to turn Thursday night's vote into partisan politics? 432 members of Congress turned out to vote on Thursday night. 243 Democrats voted their conscience, and their conscience was yes. 4 Democrats voted no. Nevertheless, the overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party supported September 11th health initiatives with September 11th first responders. 12 Republicans voted yes on the bill. 12. 155 Republicans decided that September 11th was not an issue that they could meet and agree upon. 155 Republicans. I'm here to tell you that what happened Thursday night was partisan politics. Those in the media, they need to call out the elected representatives who spoke on Thursday night. They need to call out Representative Peter King. Representative King, when he stood up, gave the stance of the Republican Party. He said that the vote that took place Thursday night was done by the Democratic Party because they were afraid to vote on amendments to the bill relating to undocumented workers and illegal immigrants in this country. Are you kidding me? Really? We decided that Thursday night on a September 11th health bill, we decided, or those in Congress decided, that that was the day and the time and the place to discuss illegal immigration in this country? Let's be honest here, folks. Illegal immigration is currently a situation that needs to be addressed in this country. Absolutely, it needs to be addressed. I support members of Congress addressing the illegal immigration situation in this country. I do not support them addressing it on a September 11th bill. That is unacceptable. Anybody who thinks that that is not unacceptable needs to have their heads checked. The Republican Party, they want a straight up and down vote on this in September. The Republican Party has told us that a straight up and down vote will pass. But will it? Because the Republican Party has promised to amend the bill or attach amendments that deal with illegal immigration. I look forward to how this bill is going to be voted on in September. I look forward to the Republican Party putting aside partisan politics and allowing this vote to come up as exactly what it is. A health care bill for those that are sick and dying from our time at the Trade Center. I will not yield my time. You know, folks, it's not a joke. What happened Thursday night was a joke. It's an absolute catastrophe. I brought with me certain parts of the bill that the Republican Party is concerned about. This is the reason they voted it down. They would have you believe on Thursday night. Well, I'm here to tell you that these copies are directly taken from the bill. There is an application process that has to take place for you to receive medical attention. There is a certification process that needs to take place for you to receive health care. There is initial health screening, a one-time doctor's visit that is paid for by the federal government to see if you were indeed down here and if your illness is related to the Trade Center. If it is, you receive the treatment. If not, you are sent on your way. Stated right here in the bill, do you want to go further than the one-time doctor visit where you were denied? You're allowed, but you have to pay for it yourself. There is currently, as we speak right now, an eligibility criteria that has to be met. This was all taken care of. All of the Republicans' concerns were addressed. When we met with them down in Washington, D.C. over the past 2 years, the Republicans said that the bill was too expensive, almost $11 billion. That was addressed. It was knocked down to 7. They said that the bill was too long. It provided way too long, 20, 30 years. That was addressed also. They had you believe the other night it was 22 years. It was not 22 years. And the biggest concern of the Republican Party was the fact that they did not want the American taxpayer to fund this bill. Well, guess what? The American taxpayer did not fund this bill. Corporations and companies outside of this country that are headquartered in this country were going to have tax loopholes closed. Those tax loopholes closing was going to provide the $8 or $7.2 billion to fund this. The Republican argument is null and void. It is partisan politics. And take it from people that have been down there. I'm here to say that for the Republican Party to have Joe Barton from Texas stand up and deliver the Republican message on Thursday night, the same man who told September 11th first responders, we're Wimpy from Popeye down in Washington, D.C. looking for something today and having us pay for it later. This is the same man who apologized to BP for them paying for the oil spill down in Washington, D.C. In the Gulf Coast. For Joe Barton to stand up and give the Republican point of view is nothing short of the arsonist speaking about fire protection. It's wrong. I'm not here to tear apart one party over the other. Both of them are dysfunctional. What we saw Thursday night is dysfunctional. I will now yield my time back to the man, John Feal from the FealGood Foundation. And I am here to say before I close that if they left it up to us to vote our conscience and get the will of the work of the people done, the bill would have passed. It's an embarrassment that they can't agree on a September 11th issue. That's all you need to know, folks. There are no issues that are going to be agreed upon down in Washington, D.C. I'm ashamed for what took place down there. Somebody from Congress better step up. They better step up soon and apologize for their actions also, because it's shameful to say the least. Thank you.
I yield back my time. In September, when Congress comes back with their tans, we'll be waiting. I will do the largest rally ever on their doorsteps. Not to disrespect them, not to embarrass them, not to point fingers, because now's not the time to point fingers. Now's the time for solutions and problem solving. Now's the time to educate our nation's leaders into doing what is morally right. They have failed us, but it's not too late to save them. We will show them what true leadership is. And my message to the mayor, do not be a one-statement elected official. You made a powerful statement yesterday, on Friday. Follow up with it with action. To the President of the United States, on The View, really? The View? Is that more important than our lives, than our welfare? The people of New York need you. The last president before you failed us. We need your leadership. I will take this past the president. I'll go to Mars. I'll do a press conference on Venus. The American people will know that New Yorkers need help. Speaking of leadership, we have in September, we will pass this bill. But that only gives us October to get it through the Senate. I applaud Senator Gillibrand's leadership. And I applaud Carolyn Maloney and Jerry Nadler's leadership. I will crawl on glass for them people to ensure this bill gets passed. But I also call out Senator Schumer. And if he was here, he would do a press conference on why a pen wouldn't work. He needs to be more involved. He's the leading senator, the senior senator of New York. He needs to be more vocal. I'll get a phone call on Monday now because of that statement. And it'll be a phone call I'll take with all due respect. Sir, get more involved. The people in New York need you. The people of Lower Manhattan need you. People around the country that are sick and dying need you. We need our elected officials to put food on our table, to give us gas so we can get to our chemotherapy appointments, to ensure that their kids are taken care of, that they have a roof over their head, and that they have health care, that the centers of excellence stay open to treat sick and dying. Wow, what a concept. Health care to treat sick and dying people. Last week they signed the war bill. $59 billion? Really? You got $59 billion to kill, but you don't got 7.4 to save lives? Am I missing something? God, I know I'm not the smartest man here, but wow, really? You know, President Obama promised us change, but to change, you got to care, you got to help, you got to assist, you got to navigate, you got to guide, and you have to embrace the actual change. And I think if I went through the alphabet right, that spells change. But change does not start at the top. Change starts at the bottom and works its way up. I'm a strong believer of that. Change starts with the media for telling our story. You are our sword. You have given us a platform to tell our stories. And for that, I think I speak on behalf of the 9/11 community when I say thank you. Because without the media, we're just a group of people, a fraternity of heroes that are sick and dying. Not once today can members of Congress or the Senate or the federal government or the city government demonize these good people. They can't call us radical. They can't call us we're crazy, because we're a reaction to their lack of action. We are a reaction because they lack compassion. So anybody in Washington, I challenge you to an open forum, anywhere of your choice, to articulate to me in the thousands why you can't pass a simple bill that will save lives. Because verbally, I will give you an ass whooping before I close. If the cameras can get in really close. I want to talk to Representative Weiner and Representative King one-on-one. Just me, you guys. Little John time. I have worked closely with both of you. I love you both. You're both right and you're both wrong. Your party ideologies got in the way of doing what was 100% right. I hope in this 6-week layoff that you two men who have worked together in the past to make New York the best city in the world and make New York State the best state in the world can come together, work together. Not for me, but for them and back to me. For them, the heroes who risked their life without prejudice 9 years ago. I challenge you to do that. And you'll become better men than you already are. Again, I love you dearly. But we all have to learn to work together. Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. Thank you for getting our message out there. This is far from over, and this group, and the thousands and the hundreds that aren't here, we're united. We're unified, and I am far from a leader. I'm just a spokesman. Because he's a leader, she's a leader, he's a leader, he's a leader, he's a leader. They're all leaders. Because they led by example on 9/11.
Outspoken advocate and president of the FealGood Foundation, Mr. John Feal.
5 years ago, Carol Maloney named a bill, the James Zagroda Bill, Health and Compensation Act. But you gave it a face, you gave it a heartbeat, you gave it life. With leadership behind me, who I thank, it's your resolve and testament, combined with leadership in back of me, that's going to get this bill passed, like Dennis said, in the next few weeks. Failure is not an option. Steve Cassidy, Richie Ailes, Mr. Lynch, and all of these congressional reps, it's like 1927 Murders Row. A lineup of Yankees who are going to go in today and ensure that we get a bill passed next week. John McNamara, Greg Quibell, Brian McCulley, all my friends, all of them close personal friends of mine, are gone. They can't be here today. But we will pass this bill in their name. Let us not forget that some of us here today are lucky to be here today. You might not be here next year. And if this bill gets signed by the president, and if I get invited, I promise to give up my spot to somebody who is sick and dying so they can see this bill get passed. Mark my words. I want to thank Carolyn Maloney and Jerry Nadler for their unwavering commitment, dedication, and being our champion. I want to thank my Congressman, Tim Bishop, and my other Long Island Congressman, Steve Israel, for being here today. And on the buses today, we had a legislator from Long Island, John Kennedy. We had a mayor from New Jersey, Ron Jones, to come out on the buses to show support. And I ask that all you congressmen behind me, when you're done with your speeches, to mingle into the crowd and to meet these men and women who are sick and dying. No disrespect, do not scurry back to your offices. Take 5 minutes to meet these men and women who you have championed. Get to know them because they're real people. They're not statistics. These people need you more than ever. Nine years. I can't wrap my arms around that. I cannot digest that I'm saying this. 9 years. But what I can guarantee, I will not be here next year saying 10 years. That's not going to happen. They said on 9/11, the days and the weeks after was your finest moment. You were hailed heroes, cops and firefighters. You were put on the stage as heroes, and rightfully so. You don't need 9/11 to call you heroes. But everyday folks, the non-uniform workers, you joined them on the stage. It was your finest moment. Then, today is your finest moment. Today, we walk the halls of Congress and we get a bill passed. Yes. And at 3 o'clock, we come back out here while they sing God Bless America and let them sing in front of us. Because God cannot bless America unless Congress blesses 9/11 responders. Thank you.
We're so proud. We're so very proud of what we did to support our fire department and our police department. And we're so proud of you today. But today we stand here where somebody's being forced to find blame other than those people who are really to blame. The people that are to blame are the people that attack this country. Because of the lack of legislation, the only alternative to our first responders and to those people that responded to 9/11 is litigation. The only people that will benefit from that litigation are the attorneys.
1,000 lives that were lost. Certainly, buildings shredded, dreams suffocated, lives shattered was a result of that tragic day. But what continues is the attack on those who responded to that deplorable act. I look before me and behind me and sense the faces that portray pain and struggle, consequences, determination, anguish, fear, and loss. We owe it to our responders, from firefighters to police individuals, to our officers, to EMS and emergency responders, to those trades workers and contractors and workers who were there responding to the needs of Americans. I will do what I best can do to make certain I work with my colleagues to make certain we have that unanimous vote so that this bill, H.R. 847, is brought to final completion with unanimous vote expressed in both houses.
9/11 first responder and cancer survivor, 9/11 first responder advocate, Kenny Spett.
Yes. Two words in the New York City Fire Department. One word we use quite often, one word we rarely, if ever, hear. The word we use quite often is size up. We're taught it in the Fire Academy, we learned it through our years on the Fire Department. Size up, we size up the scene when we respond. There's a lot that we can learn before we jump off the rig by the color of the smoke. Black, gray smoke, we have work to do when we get off that rig. White smoke, we're in the process of knocking the fire down. We're all going to go home. Green smoke, let me tell you something about green smoke. You know what we learned from that size up? You get cancer and you die. For 2, 3, 4 months at the Trade Center, we didn't have black smoke, we didn't have gray smoke, we had green smoke. And if there's one thing I've learned from being a New York City firefighter, green smoke is killing us. I want to say something to the brothers behind me from the New York City Fire Department. If nobody else will say it, I'll say it. I'm sorry you're here today.
Yes. Yes.
You were here in October, November of last year.
Yes.
This sounds strangely familiar. It's unacceptable that we're here again today. Unacceptable. Behind us are our friends, those that have supported us from the beginning, those that too sit in disbelief, shake their heads and wonder what it is that we have to do to get a vote of yes. When we responded here, or when we came here in November, we listened with respect to our elected officials when they stood up and said that they had our back. We listened and we got nothing. Today, I promise you, you are not the listeners, you are the storytellers, you are the speakers. Inside those buildings, they're going to listen to us. We've had it. We're fed up. And in the years since we've been here, other New York City firefighters have died. It's unacceptable. I see over here Chief Santora, Maureen, Sally Reaganhart.
Yes.
They've come out today. They lost their sons, New York City firefighters. 2 of almost 3,000 American citizens who died that day. They want to see us taken care of because they, more than anybody else, understand our sacrifice. Their sons are not here today. These are their sons.
Yes.
These are the people that search for their bodies. We're the people that brought them home. We know what this country is about. We know what sacrifice is about. My question to our elected officials is this. Do they know what sacrifice is about? If they don't, I promise you this today, they will. And like many of our elected officials here today said, 435 to nothing is the only number we will seek.
Yes.
in the House of Representatives, 100 in the Senate, and signed by the President of the United States. Those that forget the past are condemned to repeat it in the future. Show the New York City Fire Department, the police department, the iron workers, the construction workers, the volunteers and the citizens who live down in downtown Manhattan that we don't have to repeat what happened 9 years ago because we've learned from it. I'll tell you right now who has learned from it. John Feal, Glenn Klein, Anthony Familia, the brothers in blue behind us. We're tired of learning about it. We're sick and we're dying. Today is the last day that we will come down here and walk these halls of Congress and show them the scars on our body, the pain in our face, the tears in our eyes. Enough is enough. For those that have come out always and stood behind us, we thank you. For those that have been on the fence, we hope that we've swayed your opinion. And for those that aren't with us, we're coming to get you. Yes. God bless America. God bless the FDNY. Thank you.
On September 11th, she was flying back to Las Vegas to celebrate her best friend's birthday. There's a memorial at the high school where Madame Edwards, as her students called her, founded an international club to help students understand different cultures. Her monument bears the phrase, "We will never forget," written 3 times in 3 languages, English, French, and German. Colonel Wagner's sister, Kim, called Karen the kind of person who never forgot anyone.
Pass our bill! 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 Thank you. Pass our bill! 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 Pass our bill!
Was in Washington, waiting for the vote, lobbying everyone. I thank you for your work, John Feal. Let's give him a standing ovation.
I don't have to be as politically as correct as the congresswoman and congressman. I've earned that right to change my rhetoric today. I've done everything that the congresswoman and the New York delegation has asked of me and my group. I've even wore a suit and I walked the halls of Washington for years. We are tired, but we are not defeated. Tuesday I said, whoever doesn't think this bill gets passed, then leave. I am still confident this bill gets passed. But it's the Republican Party who has held our bill hostage. They are literally extorting the rest of the federal government until their bill gets passed to help millionaires before we help heroes. It's like, Congressman, I'll give you this $1 if you give me $100 first. No, then you don't get this $1. That's what they're doing to us. It's an insult. It's an outrage to every man and woman who stands behind me, stands beside me, and stands in front of me. Those who are sick and dying, we're not stupid. We know what's going on. We know what's going to happen. Attach our bill to the Bush tax cut. It will be a bittersweet victory. It will be dirty and it will be tarnished. but it will save lives. What we learned on Thursday from the Republican Party is that circus bears can do a better job at politicking than those who serve the Senate now. The American people in the 9/11 community deserve better. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yesterday, online, I ordered 42 red noses. I am going to hand deliver them to every office who voted no against our bill. And I hope, by the prayer of God, that I only have to deliver 38 or 39 of them, and I'll take the other 3 back with me. Because we know we're going to get some Republicans. When they stop drinking the Kool-Aid and they detox and come to their senses and have a moment of clarity and vote like an American, we will get this done. Thank you.
Come back with HR 847 passing.
How do you feel about the new bill proposal? Almost $1 billion less.
It's a concession that I have to live with. It's a concession that we had to do to get the bill through a Republican stronghold. And if it helps getting the bill passed, then I'm all for it. While the bill's not a perfect 10, I'll give it a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. But at the end of the day, a 7 saves lives and 0 doesn't. And the money will be there down the road. Once the bill is up and once the bill is passed and the program's up and running, there's always going to be money there for the next 21 years. And I'm confident that that money will be there down the road.
What message do you have to the people who are trying to hold the bill up?
We're coming. We're not taking no for an answer. We're wearing bells today.
And what's your plan once you get down there today?
We're coming. We're not taking no for an answer today. We're wearing bells.
Okay. What are you going to do when you get down there? Where's your first stop?
We're gonna stop. We're gonna do a press conference with the senators and the New York delegation, and then we're gonna walk the halls of the Senate again. And the vote can go as early as tonight. It can go tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. But we're gonna be there.
And what message do you have to the public?
Pray for the 9/11 responders this holiday season. They went 9 years without enjoying Christmas. Hopefully this year.
Do you feel that weight when you go there? I mean, there's the whole power of numbers thing, but at the same time, a lot of people just can't make it.
Yeah, we feel that weight. That's what keeps us going. Actually, we know there's so many sick people out there that can't be here, and we're the voice for them also.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important this bill to pass. There's so many people who are sick and can't afford their medical expenses. People who have lost their homes, people who have lost their cars, people who have lost their families.
Send her to Mikowski's office. Listen, again, travel lightly, whatever you don't need. This isn't going to be an all-dayer unless they put the bill on the floor today.
How long are we talking about, you think, just for
The press conference starts at 12 o'clock. We can have the vote at 2 o'clock. It could be at 4 o'clock. Who knows? We go to the hotel. We might have to get back in the bus and come over here. Who knows? What we're going to do right now, for about 45 minutes before the press conference, we're going to go hit a couple offices. Those who now are going to vote yes and those who continue to vote no. So we're going to stay together. We'll break it down into 2 groups if need be, but we're all going to stay together. All right? Because then we got to get everybody over to the visitor center. After the visitor center, if you want to have lunch somewhere, that's fine. But then we'll hit a couple more offices. So I'll know by then when the vote's going. So if it's going tomorrow, we need to show our presence in these hallways today. It's very important. Now here's the thing. A lot of their staff is gone for the holiday. That means a lot of these senators are here by themselves. No one to protect them. They're either in the Capitol or in their offices just waiting to vote. They're walking the hallways, and these are cranky old men who have nowhere to go. They want to go home, but they're stuck here. So have at
it. Thank you for all joining us here this morning. Before we hear from our first responders who we've called this press conference to hear from, to hear their stories, to hear their personal pleas to our Senate, I want to correct some of the misinformation that's out there about this bill. First, some have said that this bill has been rushed. Let me assure you, we've been working on this bill for 9 years. My predecessor, Secretary Hillary Clinton, started working on this bill in the Senate in 2006. I introduced the first bill in the Senate 18 months ago. We've had a hearing in the Senate. I've worked with my Republican colleagues, I've listened to their concerns, and I've made changes in response to those concerns. Some have said we haven't had enough hearings to examine this bill. In fact, there have been 22 hearings on this bill. 21 in the House, every committee of jurisdiction, it passed out the bill with many Republican amendments. Some have said they haven't had enough chance to propose the changes to legislation. This is false. I have worked with the Republicans on the other side of the aisle who are interested in this bill and have taken their concerns, and the only request they have made to me is to change how we pay for the bill, and that's why we offer changes that we have now seen to reach agreement on. Some have suggested that the new ways we are going to pay for this bill are controversial. First of all, unlike so many pieces of legislation here in Washington, this bill is fully paid for. Second, 2/3 of the pay for this bill are ways to pay for the bill that have been voted on with a vast majority of the Senate supporting that way to pay for the bill. So this is a pay for that the bill has that has vast support by Republicans. It's taken us 9 years to get to this point. And my hope is that these men and women who stand with me today and all those that they are here to represent are at the finish line. The men and women here today are the voices for the thousands who were our first responders, the thousands who were the victims of this attack, and the thousands of men and women who answered the call to duty when they were asked. When senators hear their stories and learn of what has happened to them, the horrific diseases, the painful diseases they now have, the terrible sacrifices they have made, I know that they will come together to fulfill this moral obligation we have to our first responders and to all those who heard the nation's call and answered that call on 9/11 and thereafter.
9/11, there have been over 120 firefighters who have passed away who served that day. Of that number, with high probability, there are 42 to 48 firefighters and fire officers who are no longer with us. Now, making our members keep reliving the nightmares of 9/11 is helping to perpetuate the problems. Please make this the last time. It's not just our country that is watching this vote to see if it happens or not, but it's the rest of the world. Mr. President, it's up to you. Make it happen. Thank you.
Our next speaker is John Feal. He's been an extraordinary advocate for this cause.
Well, what's John going to say now? No sound bites, no crap today. I implore Senator Coburn, and correct me if I'm wrong, the senator's a doctor, right? So I'm not the smartest guy in this room, but a doctor who's against helping people that are sick, figure that out. To Republican leadership, to the White House, you can't play games anymore. You didn't like the pay for, they fixed the pay for. You cannot hide behind anything anymore other than you do not want to help heroes. You have no more excuses with me. You will not go home early. The bus that I brought down here will block the airport, will block the roads out. The people behind me that traveled with me, they will get arrested with me. I am not going away. We are talking about human life. What happened to this country in the last 9 years, I cannot fathom. Because on 9/11, everybody came together. Not one individual, not one organization, not one group. Everybody came together to help this country, not just New York. This country was attacked. FDNY, NYPD, people from every state, volunteers, people in Lower Manhattan. We all came together to help and aid each other. And then the Senate and the Congress came together. United as one. What made this country so great? So what happened Why now? We're all here together, united as one. Where's the rest of the Senate and the rest of the Congress? What happened that our president can't come out and support heroes? Somebody please answer this. Who in this room has been to 44 funerals in the last 4 years? Raise your hand. Anybody? Me. Who is here donated to each family of the loved ones that lost? Raise your hand. Me. If I can do this, why can't the Senate help these men and women? I'm not going away. I am not kidding. If I have to run for Congress in 2 years and filibuster everything that you people do, I will do it. Don't worry, I'm not going to run for Senate. Trust me.
6-year term.
You know how much I get done? We need more than just us here. We need the media, our sword, to slice and cut through the Republican roadblock. Without the leadership of Senator Gillibrand and Schumer and the New York delegation led by Carolyn and Jerry, we wouldn't be here. But the resolve and the testament of the people that stand behind me, that's what makes this all worthwhile. Make no mistake, we're sick and dying, but we are not going away. Merry Christmas.
Our next speaker is Glenn Klein of the NYPD.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the New York and the New Jersey delegation and for having me speak today. On 9/11, I was a New York City police officer with the Emergency Service Unit, and 14 of our guys were in the towers, 7 in each tower. The tower collapsed with them in there, and it's a little hard for me to speak about it. 14 of our guys died that day, and we continue to see our friends dying on a day-to-day basis. We've lost at least 6 other friends since 9/11. Guys in their 50s, 40s, and even some in their 30s. This is not a game, okay? It's just human life that we're talking about. We're not asking to have a bill passed to send us to Disneyland. We're not asking to have a pool put in all our backyards. We're asking for the right to live. Me, myself, I have lung disease, asthma, nodules. I have scarring in my lungs. In the emergency service unit, we had to take an OSHA medical every year to be in that unit. And the guys in my unit had to be in perfect health to remain in that unit. I have at least 35 to 40 guys that work with me down at Ground Zero from that unit alone who were sick. They were never sick before. I was never sick before. I never took medication before. Now, about 4 years ago, I joined the FealGood Foundation. So we were able to see firsthand, on a day-to-day basis, what's going on out there with 9/11 responders. We've gone and put food in the refrigerators of 9/11 responders, heroes, who can no longer afford to feed their families because their medical expenses are so high. We have families who broke up because of the stress that they're under. We have families who lost their cars, and the list just continues to go on and on. But most appalling is we have people dying, and we have politics here playing let's make a deal with American lives. So I'm pleading today to the President, Senator Coburn, please get this bill passed. I'd be happy to let you know firsthand, face to face, of the disasters that we see on a daily basis, 9.5 years later. We really need this bill passed. I'm begging you. Let's make this a good holiday for everybody, please. Thank you.
Delia Maddox from the Emergency Service Unit of the NYPD. Delia? Sorry, Delia.
Good afternoon, I'm Delia Maddox, retired lieutenant from the NYPD's Emergency Service Unit. Sitting here, I work with Detective Klein. As he mentioned, the 14 that we lost. Of the 23 NYPD officers who were killed, Detective Klein and I worked and were friends with 14 of them. I had their names on my wristband. And I was looking at it as Glenn was talking about them. And knowing that I'm here for their families, for those we know who are sick now, for those who will eventually die, for those who will be tested as time goes on, whatever time might show what they develop as time goes on. But we're not here to plead with anybody. These are Americans who went and did to rescue other Americans when our country called. And you should know that if it happens again, and it will happen again, it's a matter of if not when, we're going to respond again. And we're not going to stop to think that Washington is going to hold us up, or that our family is going to have to suffer following our illnesses and eventual deaths. This is something we did proudly as Americans, and we will do it again. And I will not plead. These men, all of our friends, would not have pled. They went in bravely, they sacrificed, made the ultimate sacrifice. Because we're Americans, we're very proud of it, and we expect Congress to be as proud of us as we are to be Americans, and to do and to pass this bill, to get this done. Thank you.
Our next speaker is James Ryder from the NYPD.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Ryder, and I am a proud registered conservative, and have been such for over 20 years, voting with my party without hesitation. As I walked the halls of the Senate and the Congress, I had the honor to do such, because Ronald Reagan never entered the Oval Office without his suit coat on. He had a respect for this place like I do. If he was here right now, God gave him another day, he'd be shaking my hand. As I walked the halls of Congress and Senate with our leader, John Feal, I noticed something in all the Republican officers. They all had a photograph of Ronald Reagan. It made me proud. Other people feel about this great man like I do. After honoring that man for 20 years, I think I had the right to say what it is I'm about to say. To my fellow Republicans, tear down this wall between patriotism and party and pass this bill.
No, he doesn't like the bill. But that's it. Stop there. Don't continue that rhetoric. Don't tell your colleagues to vote no because you're voting no. These people in this hallway are sick and dying. Your boss is a doctor before he's a senator. He's going against his oath. There's helping people that are sick. That makes no sense to me. Do you understand? Sure. And wasn't there a terrorist attack in Oklahoma City that got federal funding? Come on, you know somebody. Evans is one of the smartest people on the Hill. That kid's he's sharp as a tack. You know, so by sitting here saying they're in a meeting and they're talking to senators, you know, I can literally control them, and I can literally just let them, you know, the Capitol Police escort them out of the building. I'm not trying to be rude or disrespect. But we got less than 48 hours to get our bill on the floor and voted on.
I mean, but
it's a life or death situation. It's a life or death situation.
I understand. Yeah, that's why he's in. I mean, he's been in meetings for hours, specifically on this issue.
All right, well, you let the doctor know, because I call him doctor. And I said he was a doctor before a senator. He's going against his oath as a doctor to help sick people. And you know, and if he wants to make a big deal out of this pay for, which was changed several times now to appease the Republican Party. And 9/11 responders don't know Republicans and Democrats from a hole in the wall, so I'm just using Republican Democrats. Sure. But there's two wars because of 9/11. Neither one of them are paid for. Neither one of them are paid for. We're spending billions of dollars, trillions of dollars technically now after 9 years, and our bill's paid for to save lives. Now, if your boss can't get that, you know, to control his rhetoric, to say, hey, look, I don't like the bill, I'm not going to vote yes. Okay, that's fine, but don't block it. Don't block it 2 days before Christmas Eve. My God, That's like saying, I'm going to hold your family members hostage on Christmas Eve. I pull these people away from their families.
Just have him back down like a man.
And listen, I know you guys know right from wrong, and you know what I'm saying is right. This is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is an American issue about human beings suffering. And again, the last time I checked, your boss is a doctor before a senator. I can't wrap my arms around the fact that your boss is a doctor, and he's against helping people. So he doesn't like. I know he's conservative, and he's fiscal spending and all of that yada DC crap. Who cares? We're talking about life. He doesn't like the bill. Did everybody like the Bush tax cuts? No. Was the Bush tax cut paid for? No. How's it paid for? No. There's no paid for on the Bush tax cuts.
And then they passed an FDA regulatory bill also.
Come on.
We'll be sure to relay
tell
this the best that we can.
Tell Evan, I'm here for
Absolutely.
another 48 hours. And
Absolutely.
these people are going to come. I can only control them for so long.
Does he have your contact?
Oh, yeah.
They know who us. They know who we are.
Evan, yes.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank
We'll be
you.
sure to relay this the best we can to the senator, and I assure you, he's been in meetings all day discussing this with his colleagues. So be sure and relay this the best we can. Good to see you guys.
Go ahead and sing it.
What happens on stage? People going to be there?
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above.
I didn't do no. Like they clap because they come around.
How we feeling today? What's that dog?
Did you get a head count?
Which one? Misfit Island?
Did you do a head count?
The toys of Misfit Island.
Oh, what? Toys of Misfit Island.
The bill's going on the floor today, guaranteed. That's a guarantee. The bill's going to get voted on and passed. Trust me, I know this. There was a lot of negotiation, and it's not for me to say everything that's going to be said, but don't be surprised on what you hear. There were concessions made, and there were deals that were made, and a lot of people had to vote and make a decision last night, and they took your best interests at heart, and I had a vote in that, and it was hard. So, good job, everybody.
All right. Good job, John. All right, John.
And one of their homes drops down to the ground because of fire. One of the neighbors goes over to that home and picks up the wood from that home and builds another home so that that home can be shared for another family. Well, ironically enough, when the World Trade Center dropped on the day of war, the steel was brought to the state of Alabama and used for employment. The audacity of the senator to do anything but embrace the patriots who are dead and dying from that tragedy has us all just flabbergasted. And when we heard this morning from very good sources that the good senator has decided to make one part of this bill an issue, we're here to say shame on him, and we need to speak to someone. We're an exception to every rule and every polite aspect of coming to this building because we're different. And I'm sure the people that come in here and lobby for everything from lollipops to bridges aren't dying. And they're not here to lobby for things. So if you can express what has been said to you, to whoever you're going to speak to, we need to find somebody.
I'd like to speak. I don't want to let
I'm sorry, if you want to speak to the senator, you'll have to...
I'd like to speak to someone on the health committee or somebody that has the substance or the law.
Okay, well, the health committee, you'll have to talk to them. Our LA that handles this issue is, like I said, in the meeting. I can see if it's available.
You can ask me how long. We'll camp out.
Oh, we were close friends, and one of their homes drops down to the ground because of fire. One of the neighbors goes over to that home and picks up the wood from that home and builds another home so that that home can be shared for another family. Well, ironically enough, when the World Trade Center dropped on the day of war, the steel was brought to the state of Alabama and used for employment. The audacity of the senator to do anything but embrace the patriots who are dead and dying from that tragedy has us all just flabbergasted. And when we heard this morning from
very good sources that the good senator has decided to make one part of this bill an issue. We're here to say shame on him, and we need to speak to him. We're an exception to every rule and every polite aspect of coming to this building because we're different. And I'm sure the people that come in here and lobby for everything from lollipops to bridges aren't dying. And they're not here to lobby for things. So if you can express what I said to you, to whoever you're going to speak to, we need to find somebody.
I'd like to speak. I don't want to let
I'm sorry, if you want to speak to the senator, you'll have to...
I'd like to speak to someone on the health committee or somebody that has some substance within the law.
Okay, well, the health committee, you'll have to talk to this. Our LA that handles this issue is, like I said, is a meeting. I can see if it's available.
You can ask me how long. We'll wait. We'll camp out.
I'm John Feal, Director of Political Affairs. We have a morning time. It's very much appreciated.
Wait, Andrew.
You've aged.
How are you, sir? It's very good to see you.
Good to see you again.
How are you?
There is something very distressing to us that you need to share with us. I don't know if you even knew this, but some of the steel that was falling at Ground Zero was used in the state of Alabama for job employment. John Feal is our president. He's in charge of the FealGood Foundation. John Feal lost his foot from a section of steel. Wouldn't it be nice if this bill was stopped today and we grabbed hold of every son of a gun with a camera or a pen, bless you, or anything, and let them know that John Feal's big mouth is now going to let them know about his foot and how he lost that foot from steel. The audacity of this senator or those who are making the rumors to make such a rumor to us today, of all days, that there's an issue with attorney fees. I tell you, there's no place in this world that embraces Washington, D.C. for attorneys like Washington, D.C.
It's not about money. It's about American patriotism. And I want to give you the floor. Basically, I know last time when we had a meeting with you, and you were quite, you took it all in, and you actually did not say much, but the floor is yours, and as you see, there's all responders here that are sick and dying. So I'm going to give the floor to you to sit and talk to us frankly. And if you want to share the position of the senator, that's fine. If you don't want to share it, that's fine also. But I'm going to let you have the floor with all due respect.
At this point, the senator is still working with the senior staff, the building staff, along with a number of other members to get the bill to a point where hopefully we can reach agreement on both sides. He's not standing here saying no and hoping to run out the door. He's still having conversations on staff level and the members level with Senator Seaver's staff to work out an agreement. He was hopeful that this would not be something that is left to the last minute of the Senate session, but the way it stands, waited until this point for it to be brought up on the Senate floor, and so we're dealing with it at the point that it was conflict or on and moving through the bill.
Could you imagine the amount of times the senator has approved bills that if he wasn't
43 years old, and many of the men and women who are no longer here involved in this journey with me. Please do not continue to disregard human life. This bill depends, our lives depend on this piece of legislation. And to have a United States senator disregard human life time and time again, that is not the country I want my son to be raised on.
I want to say this to you as a father, who has my own children. Look her in the eye right now and tell me how many of the lobbyists affected her like they affected her in the way that we affected her.
Look, like that.
No, you're on.
Like that. This is the reality. This is, her grandfather's home. He couldn't come here because of his breathing problem. He went to the hospital. Her grandfather, Kenny George, who's dying.
Gentlemen. True gentlemen.
I would like to see long-term solution doesn't help because what we got is long-term illnesses.
I want to meet the person who put the clock in cancer. I want to meet him.
I want to just do the
And I want to negotiate with him, tell him just give me a couple more. That's what I want. Thank you. Thank you.
You did it, Glenn. Right. That was the fastest vote I ever saw.
I went to the bathroom when I came out.
It was a unanimous
I didn't even
consent.
see it.
It was a done deal.
Hold on. Listen up, folks.
Does anybody have an extra ticket? They're the ones you got to give a big, because they had there are so many shoulders and arms out of joint.
Congratulations. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much. Good job.
We've all been working towards and waiting for. Our Christmas miracle has arrived. Democrats and Republicans came together to make sure that we could fulfill our undeniable moral obligations to our men and women who are first responders, our heroes, and all the survivors at Ground Zero. To the firefighters here, the police officers here, everyone involved in the recovery of articles of death, and the absolute infectious nature of your desire to make a difference. John Feal.
Lifting me off my feet. He's taller. Twice in the last month I said whoever was in this room and didn't think this bill would pass, I said leave. And I meant it. I had faith in Senator Gillibrand and Schumer, and I never wavered. But it's the resolve and the testament of the women and men in back of me. That's the bottom line. On 9/11, they were tested, and over the last few weeks, they were tested, and we never wavered. And because of these two people to each side of me, their leadership, is why this bill is done. I have never met anybody more tenacious than me, than you, Senator Gillibrand. You have the tenacity of a leopard. But I also I never ever seen anybody lay the hammer like you do, Joe. And let me tell you something, this man lays the hammer. The fact that I got to play a small part in this big process is an honor. But more importantly, we've gone eight Christmases without federal assistance. We've gone 8 years not knowing what the following year would bring to us on New Year's. This Christmas, while you might not get a check by Friday morning or open a box with the help that says the government helps you, you can have rest and peace of mind knowing that help is on its way in 2011. And to me, that's better than opening any Christmas present this year. And it's because of everybody's hard work that this Christmas will be the best Christmas that I've ever known. Thank you.